guys, and welcome back to another Chinamen Podcast episode. Today we'll be discussing the Australia versus England T20 series. So we'll be going through our Australian first and second 11, and then just a quick take at the English team, and as well as our series predictions. So who wants to start?
I'm happy to start. So we'll start with the Australian first team.
Yep.
Okay, I mean, my effort is pretty straightforward. Gone with Finch and Warner. I think it'd be ridiculous to suggest that anyone but Finch and Warner should be opening for the Australian T20 side or one day side for that matter. But yeah, that's pretty simple.
Yep, I'm exactly the same. I mean, I don't think apart from maybe Stoinis and what he's shown in the preseason games, I don't think anyone can really contest Warner and Finch on the as an opener. But considering how much success they've had as a pair up top over a number of years now, I don't think it's really a possibility for Stoinis even to come and replace them, despite what he's been doing in the Big Bash and those preseason games.
Yeah, I've gone exactly the same. So yeah, they're the proven partnership, so just keep them the same. So I'll go with my middle order, or I guess I'll go 3-4-5.
Sure.
The number 3 has to be Steve Smith. I think he'll anchor the team, and I think he's definitely proven people wrong in the last maybe year in T20s I'm talking about, because I think he has the skills to get going, and definitely shouldn't be thought of as a sluggish player anymore. And number 4 and 5, one of them will have to be Maxwell, obviously. I'm really excited to see him back because it's been too long, and he scored that 100, which is good. And I've gone for Marcus Stoinis. So even though I am a little bit skeptical of his middle order capabilities, I think he deserves the chance, and I'm excited to see what he can do.
So Stoinis at 4 or Maxwell at 4?
Probably Stoinis at 4.
Okay.
But realistically, you could change it up. We're not sure which situations. Maybe Maxwell would be better against spin, I guess, but it's probably Stoinis 4. Ryan, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. So I've gone Smith at 3, Stoinis at 4, and Maxwell at 5. Pretty much the exact same points as you. The only reason I'd still back those. It's just the fact that Stoinis can bowl. There's obvious cases that number 4 spot, to me anyway, is still up for grabs. And it really depends on who's in form at that particular time. And I think Stoinis is right now the most informed player.
So, I agree that Stoinis is right now the most informed player, which is why I mixed it up a bit. I don't think Stoinis is a world-class top 3 batsman or world-class opener.
I think our biggest problem with him is we don't know if he can actually get going. If the top 3 bat for 15 overs, 16
overs. That is why
I
have Stoinis at 3. That is why I have Stoinis at 3 and Smith at 4.
Oh, okay.
This is my system. I know I've seen Shane Warne post something about this, and I completely agree with it.
So you agreeing with Shane Warne? That's not common.
I don't know. I said O'Reilly. But yeah, I think Stoinis at 3 could easily be a solution that gets him in the team. If you're going to have him at 5 or 6, I'd question whether he even deserves the spot. He's no better than your Wades and your Mitch Marshes coming in there. He just takes too long to get in. But he's such a world-class player. We can't afford not to have him in the team. He's playing better than Smith at the moment as a top-order T20 batsman. We still have Smith there as the anchor at 4, which is fine, just like England have Owen Morgan at 4. I think we can have Stoinis playing that number 3 role really well in case Finch or Warner gets out early.
Actually, thinking about it,
thinking about it actually makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, to be honest. Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah.
The thing is,
you know how Morgan acts as the anchor for England? I don't know if Smith could strike at 200.
Yeah.
That's
and then I've got Maxwell at 5 as well.
If Smith's going to bat, we all know you want Smith in as earlier the better for him, because if they've already got to 70, 80, then they'll probably think about Maxwell.
Yeah, I mean Maxwell can float, but I've got him at 5. I mean you got to have Maxwell in our T20 side, and I think we really got to have Stoinis in there. as high up as possible. I think 3 is the highest he'd go. So yeah, that's my middle order.
Yeah. So number 6 and 7, I assume we pretty much all have the same two left-handers, Carey and Agar. I reckon Agar would 9 times out of 10 go with him, but maybe depending on the pitches you would look at Mitch Marsh. But I think he's done really well in recent times, so stick with him. The other question about Carey is the same as Stoinis. Can he get going at the end? I know we've had many arguments about this. Is he actually a good finisher? But I think you have to stick with him because realistically, all the keepers that are there available are all top order players. So nothing you can do.
That's the thing. Like in the Big Bash, he's shown he can score quickly, but then when it comes to playing internationally, like I always made the claim that during the ODI 2019 World Cup, like he was one of our best players because he averaged 60, 65 or something. But that was when he wasn't required to score quickly. He was required to bat long. So there's definitely the case about whether he could actually bat quickly when required. Yeah.
I think the answer to that is sometimes. I think he's more reliable than Stoinis to bat quickly than required, but he's still not that consistent. But again, I've still got Carey at 6 because I don't think Philippi's a similar situation, and Carey is probably a bit better of a keeper and a bit more reliable. And then I've also got Agar at 7, and I agree about the point about Mitch Marsh and what pitches he'd include, 2 spinners. But I think Carey Agar should be our 6 and 7 for now.
Yep, I have gone very left field, and
Okay.
I've not gone with Agar, and I've instead.
Oh my!
I'm playing 5 specialist bowlers, so I've gone with Jai Richardson, batting at 7, which is potentially putting a lot of pressure in the top 6.
I mean,
but
if you do that, surely Nathan Coulter now.
Yeah, but I think Jai Richardson's a better bowler, and he could bat he could bat almost as well.
I think his batting's okay.
He did have that one.
Not at the same level as
wasn't there a game with him and Cummins? Like they both in the last over against India one time. So he can, but I feel like that's a massive drop off from 6 to 7.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. I just don't think Agar's bowling is as effective. I don't know.
But if you're doing that, you're basically saying that you don't trust Stoinis and Maxwell as much with the ball.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because they don't have to play as bowlers.
I think especially with England, like they're really batting heavy. They bat to 10 or 11.
Yeah, so we'll be batting to 6 if we do that.
Let me play the India.
No, but then what do we suppress? So do we suppress their batting, or do we try and boost our own batting? Realistically, we're not going to outscore them.
Agar's good enough as a bowler.
Agar is an underrated bowler.
Agar's a bowling all-rounder still.
Yeah.
So, okay, I guess that leads us into the bowlers. Out of the 4 remaining, I assume we have 3 of the same 4. So that's Stark, Cummins, and Zampa.
Yep.
Obviously, they're 3 very good white ball players, and they've proven why they should be there. I'd probably have Stark above Cummins in the batting order because I think he's more of a good hack than compared to Cummins. And then the last option, to be honest, I probably said this before, but I'm not a massive fan of Kane Richardson. I never really thought he's that special. So I've just gone for an exciting option. I've gone Riley Meredith. I like seeing debutants, and also he's pretty quick, and I think he's just a good option. Will?
Yeah, I've gone the same. I've also gone Riley Meredith. I don't think he'll play every game, but I think why not? Why can't he be our best 11 right now? Cambridge Richardson wasn't that good in the Big Bash. He hasn't been. He's fairly consistent, but he's not amazing. I disagree about Cummins and Stark. I think Cummins should still be ahead of Stark. He hasn't been batting that well of late, except for in the T20 when he made 30 off 11, batting at 7 in the inter-squad match. I think 30 off 11, 3 sixes. He's been batting well again apparently. So I think he's always been a better batsman than
I think it
Stark.
depends. Like if it's against spin, Stark 100%. Like if spin's dominating the game,
I just feel
Stark,
like Cummins is more of a stroke player and Stark is more aggressive. That's why I thought.
Like they're very similar, to be honest.
So Ryan, what have you gone with?
I've also thought about whether I want Kane or Meredith, but no, I'm still gonna go with Kane Richardson. Like I don't know, it's one of those ones where like either of them could play in the first 11, I'd be happy. But I think Meredith, he's going to be bowling behind Cummins and Stark, and his role would be to bowl fast and keep it tight.
I don't think Cummins has to open the bowling in D20.
What they could do is even save Stark to the death, or like save one of Stark or Cummins for the death.
I think he bowls Stark too at the beginning, to at the death.
I think Meredith Stark has to bowl at the start because he swings the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, like Cummins has to open.
As in, like you could even you could have 2 from Stark, 2 at the end, and then even bowl Cummins more like 3 and 1.
Yeah.
And have Meredith. Something like that.
I think you can have Cummins in the middle, supporting Zampa and Mega.
Yeah, it just depends on the role. Like I wouldn't put Meredith bowling at the death. That's for sure. I think I'd rely more on Kane to bowl more death overs than Meredith. Even though Meredith, I was just looking at some stats. Meredith's economy rate in the Big Bash was like 6.7 or something like that, which is incredible.
You could into it halfway through. Where's Ellis?
Yeah, but still 6 games, and it's
I
pretty
think
good.
they would want Stoinis to eventually bowl the death as well, because like he used to do that before.
Yeah.
Like if he were to bowl. So
No, it's like you wouldn't risk having an all-rounder bowling at the death unless they're like exceptional. And I don't think with the options Australia have,
Faulkner,
Stokes.
Yeah, but Faulkner, like Stoinis is a batting all-rounder. Faulkner's a bowling all-rounder. It's a bit different.
All right, should we move on?
Yeah.
I guess we'll go to the second 11 first. So I'll start off. Openers, it's going to be the 2 Hobart boys, of course, Short and Wade. They're forever a little bit unlucky, like the last few years, because they've probably been in their prime, their career, but it's just been so hard to break in. But they'll always be there waiting, so we'll keep them there. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. How could you not have Wade and Short as we're going to have a second 11? Like they're the next best pair of openers. An amazing duo together. They bat so well together. We saw them hit that 200 partnership against Adelaide. They just both performed so well in that opening role. Obviously, if you didn't have Stoinis in the first team, you'd have him here as well, probably.
And also, they're both all-rounders, right? Genuine all-rounders.
That's true. Well, Wade's a genuine all-rounder. Short doesn't keep. But yeah, they're pretty good.
I'm exactly the same. Going with Short and Wade.
Cool.
For the exact same reasons.
Nice. So 3, 4, 5 then. Number 3, I'm not sure because I actually thought about going with Shaun Marsh, just because his Big Bash record is just so good, and like but realistically he wouldn't get picked. So I'm just gonna go back with the, I guess, exciting option, which is Chris Lynn. Whether he's in the picture for being selected again, I don't know, but he's always playing in the t20 leagues around the world, so probably not far for him to get back in. Number 4, I've gone with you could argue one of the best middle order T20 players in Australia. It's Jono Wells. I don't know if same with him, I don't know if he's in selection contention, but he's shown in the Big Bash how good he is. And then my keeper at 5 is Philippe. Hopefully he gets a chance soon, but I don't know if he will this series.
Okay. Well, I'm certainly very different. So at 3, I've gone with Labuschagne, Marnus Labuschagne. Just hit 100 or 50.
It's like of one innings.
Into a squad match.
Also averages like 6 in the
I think if this would have happened,
that's one innings, bro.
definitely have Labuschagne playing that Smith role, batting at 3, being the anchor. I think it'd be very dangerous to have a team that goes short Wade Lynn. Like that's just a recipe for disaster. And we've seen that before. We've played one day, so we've totally collapsed because we have no anchor there. I think Labuschagne can anchor that innings.
What am I hearing?
I mean, that's why I have Wells. He can, because Lynn bats 3 for Heat sometimes, and
Yeah, sure. And look what happens to the Heat.
I mean, the odd day, good day sometimes.
I mean, I think Labuschagne is a good enough batsman like Smith to be able to adapt to the format. And I think he's good enough to be in this second team. I think, obviously, it's not...
Labuschagne's barely played ODIs, let alone T20s.
Yeah, sure, but he barely played Test, let alone ODIs, and he got into that team. And I think he'd be a solid anchor for a T20 team. 4, I've gone with Mitch Marsh. Could have been lower down the order.
I'm sorry, but when was the last time Labuschagne hit a 6 in domestic cricket?
I can't say I've got the stats on Labuschagne 6s in domestic cricket, but he had an amazing Marsh Cup, so I imagine he hit some.
I reckon he would off spin.
Totally.
It's
he also got 151 against the full Australian bowling lineup in an inter-squad game. In English conditions. So yeah, Mitch Marsh 4. He's a bowling option, but I've got lots of bowling options in this side, basically. And a 3 bats for the Scorchers, and I think he's probably going to be in this side. And I don't really have I thought about Wells and your Fergusons and your Lynn and also Travis Head I considered. But I've gone with Mitch Marsh. I'll keep him in here for now as a 6th bowler. And I've got about Ashton Turner at 5. I wasn't really sure about this position either, but we need a batsman there. He's been okay for Australia in the past. Been amazing for Australia in the past in one days.
He also had like 5 ducks in a row, remember, one time?
That's like very dated. I don't know.
I wouldn't mind having Turner there. You could also be Head or, again, Ferguson, Wells. There's a few options, but I wouldn't mind Turner.
All right, interesting. Right.
Did Labuschagne bat 4 for the Heat or 3? Or was it
5.
way lower?
5.
Wasn't sometimes like he was just there to make the team? Like he barely even...
He only played 2 games after the test, so like he hasn't had a chance in the Big Bash.
Yeah.
Anyway, your middle order.
Right.
Okay, at 3, I've gone with Philippi. 4, Sean Marsh, and 5, Wells. I wasn't quite sure about the order, but I think it's after the opening partnership of Wade and Short. I think those 3 straight after can provide a good balance of the team. Philippi, we know what he can do at the top of the order, and I think he's quite adaptable. I think in some of the innings in the Big Bash, he often showed that he struggled at the start, but managed to get over that initial phase and start scoring a bit more freely. Sean Marsh, we know what a class player he is. He's been pretty dominant in the Big Bash over the past few years, and I don't know, he doesn't really have much of a T20 international sort of record, but I think considering his record in the Big Bash, it'd be hard to leave him out of a second 11. And Wells, he's been phenomenal over the last maybe 2 years in the Big Bash, and he suits that middle order role perfectly. He's probably, last year was probably one of the best, if not the best, batsman in the Big Bash.
Well, I think
Jono Wells was the best batsman in the Big Bash.
Honestly, I consider the role he played. Like he was incredible almost every game.
Maxwell, Hales. Like it's okay, but he's not incredibly consistent.
Been, like he just overhyping
days, but you can go quite hard, but like I don't know. I wouldn't have Sean Marsh and then Wells.
Yeah, I don't know about having Wells and Marsh because like they're kind of like the similar player, especially at number 5.
I don't know about over the last 2 years. Wells had one good season last season. Before that, he was solid. He was one of the better ones, but he would have been just outside the team of the tournament, I think. At least he was outside mine. He's okay, but I consider Ferguson as much as well. Yeah.
They're like the same mold of player, though.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And at the moment,
I'd only have one of them.
The more complete player. He's a better fielder.
And honestly, I'd rather Labuschagne than any of them.
Better.
I would.
Who's a better fielder? Ferguson.
Wells is better than Ferguson at fielding.
Wells is a good fielder. But they're all about the same with those 3, and I feel Labuschagne has a lot more
Labachane's
potential.
like he's barely played 2020s. Like, yeah, you could say he's like
He's too
amazingly
talented
talented like Smith, but
to be bad at one
every
format.
play is different. He hasn't.
I don't know. If you, I
What's
mean,
his
if,
strike rate in 2020s? It's probably barely over 110.
yeah, I'm looking. He's played 39 innings. Oh, no, sorry, 9 innings. I was looking at his list accidentally. 9 innings, averaging 12, strike rate of 100.
Let's go. Now that is the quality we want in our Australian second 11.
What?
That's what I'm looking for. That is Chinamen quality.
This is 100% just like a full-on hype pick.
Yep, correct.
This is just like you looking at Cricket Australia articles and just going for it.
I mean, Finch did say they're not considering him yet.
Of course not.
Of course they're not, but second 11, I'd be considering him. I consider him over all these other old players that play a similar role that have much less potential.
See, that's fair.
Yeah, like obviously, yeah, you definitely consider Labuschagne over Sean Marsh, like presently. But if we're talking about the best second 11 right now, I'd have Sean Marsh over Labuschagne. I mean, he's played 1 innings, literally.
I reckon give it 12 months, and I think he'd be
12 months for sure. 12 months. 12 months.
I think by next World Cup, Labuschagne will be pushing for the first 11. Anyway.
I was going
Maybe
to say, I
that,
reckon
though.
Weather would be a better option than Labuschagne, like, and have some. You mix it up
I mean,
somehow.
personally, I think Weather was a bit of a hack. It's just my opinion. Yeah, he doesn't really play many nice strokes, and he's so inconsistent. Like,
So if Labuschagne was to push for the first team, we'd have Smith, Labuschagne, and if Stoinis keeps his form up, Stoinis.
I mean, you never know. I mean, if Australia don't win the next World Cup, they'll probably think about changing the team, right? So you never know.
Yeah. It's going to be hard for Labuschagne to break in because he plays the same role as Smith, but we'll see. Then again, Smith isn't getting 100 or 50, so who knows? I'd love to see the highlights of that innings.
He probably hit all his sixes over the final leg.
I can see the highlights, but you can't really see much. It's just from one camera view. So should we go to 6 and 7 then, I guess? So I've got 2 all-rounders. Mitch Marsh. You could argue it's a bit low for him, but I already had enough batsmen there, so I'll keep him at number 6. And then I've gone with Daniel Sams. Now, I think he deserves it. I know, Will, sometimes you're a bit skeptical of him before, like his genuine wicket skill taking, because a lot of his wickets were cheap wickets at the death. But I still think he's pretty good, and yeah, I'll have him at number 7. And I also got the IPL contract, so that'll be interesting if he plays.
Who did you sign for?
Delhi. Replacement for Roy.
Yeah, that's a like-for-like replacement there. Yeah.
I mean, because they have Shaw and I don't know who else, and yeah.
Well, then he might actually play if he's replacing Roy. Like, Roy would have made the first team, surely.
I can see Sam staying quite well in the IPL, to be honest. I feel that's the sort of league that sort of suit him. I can see him getting quite a few wickets.
For fantasy, he's going to be so cheap as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, stay tuned for our IPL episodes.
Yeah, I've been pretty similar. I already had Mitch Marsh early, but I've gone Philippi at 6. Like you had. I'd probably have Marsh 4, Philippi 6, but I could see how you'd swap it around. And I've got Basams at 7 too. I agree. You need a death bowler for this side, and I think he's the one. For me, it was between Sams and Sean Abbott for this spot. There's obviously questions over Sam's batting, but if he can just stop getting a golden duck. Like
I mean, he used to be really good. Like his first season,
he
was solid.
The problem is he can only hit on the leg side, and they figured out if they ball outside off stump, then you can't score any runs.
Hopefully he's working on that as we speak. Yeah.
For Thunder's sake.
Yeah, I'd have him at number 7 on this side.
Yeah, I'm the same as Arjun. I've gone with Mitch Marsh and Sams. Exact same reasons. The only thing I have about it is Mitch Marsh. Like, it always seems like, I don't know, with the Scorchers, he takes like 15 balls to get in. And at that position,
he's just such a good hitter of the ball. So,
but it takes so long to
strong
get
hitter
in.
anyway.
Like,
I would love to see Simon Malenko in this side, but I think he's just outside for the moment.
Yeah.
And you say I'm very critical of Sams,
Will
which
Sutherland.
is true. Of course, Rizal is good. I am critical of Sam's at times, but I also liked him before he had any hype. I said he should be considered for Australian selection like 2 years ago when he was in
the World Cup.
JLT Cup, and then he was just mostly for 1 day actually, because that's where he really got good. And yeah, I put him in some of my World Cup squads, I think, which is quite controversial. But now he's had and then after that, thought we could take a big bash. So now I'm the one criticizing, but mostly because he plays for the Thunder.
I mean, he's already 27 actually, so
yeah,
he might not actually get a chance.
I think he's getting better every season. But anyway.
Well, you never know.
I guess we'll go with the bowlers. I feel like this is
Did
quite
Ryan
hard.
do his 6 and 7?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Same as
I
me.
missed that.
Mitch Marsh and
Oh yeah,
Sam's.
that's right. Nice.
Yeah, I feel like the bowlers, there's a lot of options. So it was tough to make a pick. So at number 8, I've actually gone with someone who actually hasn't done that great lately in the Big Bash, but I still think he's a decent player, Chris Green. I think if you look at his, especially his CPL stats, he's just so good. Like he got like 1 for 2 or 4 the other day, something like that.
Oh wow, yeah.
And I think he is a really good mold of a T20 player because he can open the ball and you get those overs through, and he's handy at the end with the bat. And if a lot of people are vouching for him to be in the team, and I think it wouldn't be a bad option.
Rumor has he chucks it.
I mean, Sunil Narayan does it, and he's a pretty good T20 player. So
That's fair.
And then I don't know if you want to go with 3 quicks at the end or 2. If I had to go 2, I'd probably go with Kane Richardson, even though I didn't say I liked him. He's probably still the next best. And then I would go Jai Richardson. I've always liked Jai Richardson, so I've got him there. And then if you want another spinner, it sort of tails off a lot after Zampa, to be fair. It would probably be Cam Boyce as the next best option. But I wouldn't actually have him. I'd probably play Abbott instead, if you wanted him.
Oh my god, Arjun.
I think you missed someone that
You just missed
like
one of the best spinners in world cricket.
I don't think he's even that good in T20s.
I think he's been playing pretty well recently, and I think
he's been smashing it.
So I'll go with my bowlers. I have gone for Nathan Lyon as Australia's 3rd best white ball spinner. Probably almost as good as Agar, but he can't bat as well. I think batting like 9 here, though. I mean, Cam Green and Boyce, really? You're the one like Shane Warne now, wanting Cam Boyce in your sides for no reason.
He used to be.
Why not bring up Clive Rose?
Honestly, Clive Rose would be a better choice than Cam Boyce.
And yeah, I've gone for 3 places apart from that to go along with Sam. I mean, I've already got Sam's and Mitch Marsh, but I've only got 1 spinner here just because no one else was good enough. So I've gone both Richardsons, Jai and Kane, Jai batting at 8. I've gone for Hazelwood. I feel Hazelwood should still be around. He's decent when he came back to the Sixers. He's still a solid bowler. I feel he should be rotating him with the first side, really. Everyone forgets that Hazelwood's still a great T20 bowler. Because his economy is so good, and he's just great to have. So yeah, Hazelwood 11. Yeah.
Wow, just one more thing. I actually forgot about Nathan Lyon.
Yeah, I guessed that when you said Cam Boyce.
So I guess I would go him, but yeah. Ryan?
Yeah, so I've gone with Nathan Lyon, gone with Meredith, obviously, considering I picked Kane in the first team. Hazelwood as well, but I've also picked Abbott. Now, I can't remember what you guys chose as your replacement for Abbott, considering all the rest of our plays are the same. But
I did have Abbott.
Abbott's batting and his fielding makes up a lot for whatever he lacks in the bowling. And even then, he's not even a bad bowler. He hits the deck hard. I think he keeps it relatively tight. Could be wrong. I mean, I think some games he goes through a few.
Didn't he play that one game last summer? He got man of the match, I think, against Pakistan. So I don't know why he's not in.
Okay. If she's in contested item, it was very close for me. Just everyone else was a bit better. And the person that you're missing, Ryan, is Agar. You didn't have him in the first or second 11, right?
Yeah, I think
that's our replacement for Abbott.
That's just
I
the
think
personal
saying
opinion.
Agar's not in our best 22 T20 players is very harsh, considering
I think you
It
could argue
is
he's
very
top
harsh.
five.
It's just the
he was
personal
like the
opinion.
best against South Africa from what I remember in our last T20. So,
Mm.
oh well.
Some interesting choices.
Yeah, looking at my ranking for the South Africa one, I've got Warner, Agar, Finch, Smith. They were our best players. So yeah.
I've always liked Agar as well.
Yeah, everyone's always liked Agar.
Just a personal thing.
All right. You just don't want any brown players in the 20?
What?
No,
Is that right?
Should we go
Okay.
next into the
Sure.
England team?
Sure.
So obviously, Australia's playing England. We've come up with our best 11. So not the 11 that they can pick because Stokes is away and Roy is injured. So starting off, I think personnel-wise, will probably be very similar, but the order is probably difficult to decide. So I've gone with Roy and Butler opening. I think Butler, if he plays T20s, his best position is opening. Like he did it for Thunder, did it for Rajasthan, and he's done it for England. I think he got man of the match last time Australia played England in T20. And then Roy is just based off sheer what's the word? I forgot the word.
Sheer.
Reputation. He'd just keep him there. Like he had a great World Cup and stuff. You can argue for Hales and others. Yeah, I'd keep Roy. So you guys got?
Yeah, I've also gone for Roy. I think, yeah, just the best of his sheer. Yeah. But he's always a great opener. You know, he's still Jason Roy. He's a good player. And I gone with Bairstow instead to open. He's a very quality T20 opener. I'd love to have Butler there. I'm gonna have Butler at 3 probably. But I think the way he played with Warner at Hyderabad made me really appreciate Bairstow as a T20 opener. So I think Bairstow and Roy is a very, very solid opening pair.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same as well. Gone with Roy and Bairstow. With Butler, I think he's a very versatile player. He could pretty much play anywhere in the batting order. So considering often finishing is often one of the most hardest positions to do in the game, I'd probably consider putting him lower down the order. But you could definitely see the merits in putting him as an opener. But considering there's so many quality options England have up top, definitely, yeah, I wouldn't think England should put Butler.
Actually, I guess Butler would be the easiest to have lower because he's the most adaptable.
Yeah.
But I just because they've played him opening before, so I just kept him there.
Yeah, crucially, I think he's more versatile than Bairstow and Roy, basically. I think Bairstow doesn't do that.
Well, Roy can only open
in any format.
Yeah. And Bairstow can only bat top 3, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that totally. So I'd have them opening.
Yeah, that's why I have Bairstow at 3.
Yeah.
That's why I have Butler at 3.
And then 4 and 5, I'm not sure like the exact ordering because I know they have Morgan at 4 and he's really good there. So I guess it doesn't really matter, but I'll have Morgan one of the 4 or 5, and the other position is the player that we haven't talked about when we were talking before about England, and it's Milan, David Milan. He's actually really underrated in the T20 format. Averages over 50.
Wait, were you batting him? 4 or 5?
4 or 5. Okay. Yeah, I'll look at his stats. Yeah, 500 runs, averages 50. I think he's he's top 5 ranked in the world, but not that means a lot, but still it's important. But if you don't want Milan, you'd probably go Banton, but I think that they should stick with Milan.
You've missed one certain player that I'd be having around here, but anyway.
And then number 6 would be Ben Stokes.
Okay.
I think you could argue that almost wasting him a little bit because it's kind of low, but they're just all quality explosive batsmen. So that's the best I can do.
Except for Milan, who's the anchor, who should only bat at 3.
His strike rate's over 150 almost. So.
But his role is the same as Smith. He's been batting 3 the whole series. I think you either have him 3, playing that role that Smith does, or you don't have him at all.
Right. In my opinion,
he can be okay. He gets fours and stuff.
I feel like 4 is more anchor and 3 is just the best player.
I think Morgan has to bat 4. Like, there's no doubt
I agree.
about it. Morgan just has to bat 4.
Yeah, I go with mine. So I've got Butler 3. I see the merit of having like maybe Banton there or something, or Stokes there. But no, I go with Butler 3. So if one of the openers gets cut, he gets a chance to play that opener role. He's still very adaptable. Morgan 4, Stokes 5. I think Stokes at 6 is a bit of a waste. He's still so good. And then I've gone with Banton at 6. I think Milan's, in my opinion, Milan's only playing at the moment because Stokes is out and Roy's out. I don't think he's in their best 11. It also wasn't who I was thinking of, by the way, but who your underrated player was.
I agree with you, Will. Like, I would have had that team, but I just thought they couldn't drop Milan because he's done so well.
Yeah, that's fair. He's been solid. He does a good anchor role, but I still think you'd have Butler there over Milan, in my opinion.
Right.
Butler? Why hasn't Butler been playing in the Pakistan series? I don't know the reason.
Because he was in the test bubble.
Right. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Good point.
All right. I've gone with the same players, but very different batting order. So now at 3, I considered Bowler at 3, but I still think he's one of the most versatile. I think he's still the most versatile player in that team. So I put him lower down. So the predicament I had was whether I should bat Banton at 3 or Stokes at 3. And I think it depends on the game scenario. So if the top 2, so the openers, Roy and Bairstow, like absolutely blaze it, 10 overs, score like 100 plus runs, then I think Banton's the way to go. You can really up the run rate and apply pressure to the opposition. But if you're in a sticky situation where it's difficult to score, maybe, I don't know, they get 50 in the first 6 overs. I mean, for England, that's probably standard, but maybe a touch on the slow slide. But I think because Stokes is left-handed and he's probably, in my opinion, the best player in the team, argue to put him there. So that's one of the 2. So it's either Stokes or Banton at 3. Morgan, I've said that immediately already that he should bat at 4. 5 is either Stokes or Banton, whoever didn't bat at 3. And 6, they've gone with Butler. I think that finishing role, he's really made it his own in the ODI scene. And although I could see the merits in putting him up higher in the order, like what he does in the 2020 leagues as an opener, but he's the most versatile player, and I think he's still the best finisher in the team, so I put him at 6.
To ask a question, you said pretty much in T20s the best batsman should always be at 3. I think you guys are both sort of saying that. Is Smith Australia's best T20 batsman?
No,
Warner.
Warner.
Skilled batsman.
I think I can name 3 that are better than Smith. Warner, Finch, Maxwell, I'd say, in terms of the T20 format. I think he's the best at playing that anchor role, which is what I think the number 3 should be. I think just so happens that
the thing is, can you see Smith batting anywhere but 3?
It just feels like 3 has to be the player that's just like this, like the best player, like the star player, but also the anchor at the same time. But then they can do anything really.
I disagree that it has to be the star player. I think it happens about around in world cricket at the moment. The people that are batting happen to be
just
the
because
star
Williamson,
players.
Bubba, Kohli,
yeah.
Bubba opens though.
Only because
he does now, exactly.
It's because other options were failing, but yeah, he was at 3.
In T20 cricket, I think having a solid number 3, which is why I went with Labuschagne and why I went with Smith.
Actually, fair.
And that's why I actually really do rate the Milan pick. I just don't know who I'd drop basically. Who don't you have actually out of interest for Milan that we all have?
Banton,
right.
One thing I was going to say, statistically, all these players, their T20 international records aren't actually that great. So on paper, it might look pretty good, but it hasn't worked that well so far. They did get to a World Cup final, but I think it was a bit different team. But yeah.
Yeah, I actually quite like the idea of having Butler at 6 and Milan at 3 as well with that anchor role. But Butler's still pretty good, you know.
Banton, you mean?
So would both of you guys have Milan over Banton?
No, I don't. I do have Banton at 6 and no Milan, but I'm seriously, I would consider.
I'm
Banton. I don't know what
considering
I'd go
going
with.
back to Banton. I like Banton a lot, but
Just changing
Milan
each
has
other's
done
minds.
really
The
well.
thing
So
is, though, if Stokes and Roy were to play, well, no, okay, if Stokes was to play, you drop Milan, right? And if Roy was to play, who would you drop?
right now, you mean?
Yeah. So if Roy was to
Gregory?
play, and
mean,
it was either Banton to get dropped or
I
Milan.
think
Billings?
Billings
They've
get
got
dropped.
Billings at the moment, yeah.
Wait, what?
Because
Yeah.
Roy's not playing. They have Billings.
Billings will start.
Oh, okay. Yep. Don't worry then.
Because they also don't have Butler at the moment.
For this series, do they?
I mean, against Pakistan,
Yeah,
they haven't
so
had Butler.
essentially
either.
what I'm
So that's why
asking
they
is,
had
would you
like
replace-
Gregory and
Who would you rather replace, Banton or Milan?
That's exactly the question I've been talking about.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we all know Banton's for the future, but Milan right now is just really good.
I mean, yeah.
But do
the answer
England
to that
need an
is just
anchor role?
purely
Because
for
Morgan
me
already
is
plays
that
that role.
well, yeah, can Butler play that anchor role is the
True.
question, or could Stokes?
I mean,
Exactly.
the whole team they just swing from
And they
ball
bat
one.
so deep. They bat so deep.
You can argue England don't even use an anchor. They just keep the
Yeah, just keep
Go
swinging.
going,
Like,
yeah.
they don't need an anchor. And another anchor. Morgan's already an anchor.
I still think that's dangerous. That's when your batting collapses happen. When you have
I guess we can let the comment section decide.
yeah, they'll be really into it.
Yeah. So I guess we'll move on then. Number 7 and I guess we'll do 7 and 8, and then do bowlers after because I guess 8 is a bowler, but yeah. 7 I've gone for Moeen Ali. Actually, if you look at his stats, he's actually been really poor lately before the Pakistan series, and there's a lot of doubters. I just think on his day he's too good to leave out, and obviously his bowling is
How's his spin stats? His bowling stats?
not that great. I'll try and find something. But I think other than him, they would have like that guy Lewis Gregory, but I don't think he's that good. Or maybe have one of the other bowlers earlier up, but I think you've got to have Moeen. And number 8 is going to be Tom Curran. I think he's the only Curran that should be there, and I think he's done really well in Big Bash. So it's only a matter of time before his form improves in the international scene. Yeah.
Yeah, I've also gone for Moeen Ali. You asked earlier whether you think Agar's better than Moeen Ali. I think Ali has much more potential as a batsman. Like, Agar is definitely a bowling all-router. Ali's definitely a batting all-router. Moeen Ali has not been bowling that well. That's why I'd even consider someone like Livingston this spot. I think that'd be an interesting shot. But again, it's the same sort of problem with the bowling. So I would go with Moeen Ali there. And
Well, I think that kind of depends on how much Stokes is going to bowl.
yeah, agreed.
Like, if Stokes bowls 1 over or doesn't bowl at all, then you'd probably want someone who bowls a better bowler than Livingston. That's for sure.
And
But
what also
Livingston
than Ali, you'd probably have
pies.
Gregory. If Stokes isn't going to bowl, you'd probably have Gregory or someone.
Moeen and Rashid has been a good combination as well. So I think keep that together.
Yeah. So England could easily also just play 5 bowlers, no Ali. But and my number 8's actually Chris Jordan. I've got him batting above Curran.
Right, fair.
That's what's happening currently. So. Yeah.
Yep, I've got Tom Curran and Moeen Ali. Same reasons. There's nothing else to say, really.
In that order?
Yeah, it's what did
I don't know.
You said Curran above
they're in the
Ali.
Big Bash, but I guess England have different ideas.
Curran's not really a hitter. That's the only thing.
He like flicks it a lot.
Yeah. So if
But I've
England
got
have a
Curran at
collapse, then you
9.
probably want Curran above Ali.
Actually,
But
did you see the highlights
Ali's
of the last
got
game?
a
Ali's only there as a batsman, really. Let's be honest.
yeah.
I think
It's
you
hard
got to
to
have
say.
Ali 7.
Probably Ali 7. Yeah.
Didn't he get 60 or 30 in the last game against Pakistan or something? Just saying.
Probably don't give him enough credit because his form has dropped off a bit.
Yeah.
All right. I assume we'd have.
Wait, did you say Jordan was above Curran?
Well, that's what they're
Like
playing
any
right
reason
now.
or just?
That's because what they're doing.
Because I looked at the England vs Pakistan side and they have Jordan above Curran. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So last three. The other two pace bowlers, the two West Indians, Chris Jordan and Jofra Archer. I saw a surprising stat. Jofra Archer hasn't played a white ball game since the World Cup final. So that'll be interesting to see how he goes against Australia. But yeah, I think
That's
definitely
surprising.
have those two.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, the next best options would probably be Wood and Sam Curran. But yeah, I definitely think Jordan and Archer are better. And then 11 spinner Adil Rashid. I think he's really underrated for England, and yeah, that's my team.
Yeah, well, I don't think Rashid's underrated at all. I got Rashid. I think he's pretty good.
He takes wickets, but he can be expensive. I think that's the thing.
Yeah, fair enough. I think he's
that's
a
like
solid
a
wicket taker. Yeah.
thing.
I got Curran 9, obviously. Rashid 10, Archer 11. Yeah, you got to have
Exact
Jofra.
Yeah, I'm the exact same as that.
Yep. Well, I guess we could head into our series predictions.
Wait
then.
a minute. I've been thinking about this.
Alright,
So,
1 sec.
is there any scenario where you'd put Root in the team?
Okay.
No, but the short answer, no.
In
Maybe
my-
if they
well,
start
no, that's the
playing
thing.
red
That's
ball
the thing.
cricket.
He's barely played 20.
he just scored 2 Vitality Blast 50s in a row. If he keeps that going,
You argued Labuschagne to be in the Australian second 11 off of
Sorry,
one
I just couldn't
innings,
take seriously he
151.
scored 2
Like,
Vitality Plus 50s in a row.
no, I only think about Root because look at the last World Cup. I know it's 4 years ago, but he was like their best player.
Root is class.
What about the
Like,
big
no
bat-
matter, like, it doesn't matter what your opinion is.
What
of
about
him.
that
Like, he may
tryout?
not be deemed like in those five
I
players
think
now.
if he has to play over the Milan / Banton,
Yeah.
and has
So
to.
would you have Root over Milan?
Right? Probably no. Like obviously it's a big discussion because like you could argue he's their biggest cricketer other than Stokes, but no, I don't think they will. Or I don't think they should consider him.
If he smashes the Vitality Blast,
Even still, it's kind of tough because like they should probably stick by their selection. Like the reason why they dropped him because he wasn't good enough.
but he barely played any games. That was the reason
why
he
he's
got
not playing at the
dropped.
moment is also that he's in the bubble.
No, I mean he'd been dropped since like 2018 from T20s.
Yeah, that was because he barely played 2020s.
I remember his Kuldeep exposed him, and then he hasn't been around.
Yeah.
He can't get an IPL contract. He was poor in the Big Bash,
Yeah, he was. He was really poor in the Big Bash.
so I don't think statistically much is going for him. It's more that his pedigree. And right now,
Saying like if he bangs the Vitality Blast.
Fun fact, in my
Surely.
my BBL 08 ranking, Joe Root finished on the same points as Simon Milenko with 6.
Well, he must be good then.
Also the same as Mackenzie Harvey, fun fact. Just ahead of Clint Hinchcliffe and just below Anton Devcich. You remember him?
So you're pretty much disregarding Root then?
Yes,
Okay.
because it's funny.
only reason, I mean, the only way, I guess, if he smashes ODIs, like he already is, but like shows explosive skills somehow. But he doesn't play that role for them, so I don't think he will be ever considered.
We're arguing Root or Milan, but most of us agree that Milan isn't even in the best 11. So like, we don't need that anchor role. And if we think Butler or Stokes is good enough to play it, and there's no doubt that Butler or Stokes is a better T20 batsman than Joe Root. Like that's just not even a question.
Yeah,
So,
right. It might just be because you like Root, because
I don't though.
Does anyone like Root? Like at all?
I rate him in ODIs.
Like he's a good player, but yeah, like Will said, if Milan's not even, if we're questioning about whether he's actually in the best 11, then pretty hell, then of course Root shouldn't even be in contention.
What about Hales?
Closer than Root.
Didn't you say Hales over Roy like a few days ago, Ryan?
Yeah, but that's because my only time that I remember seeing Roy, I can't even put words together.
You mean
was
live?
during the World Cup
Oh, right.
in ODIs, and that's when he was doing well. But in T20s, don't really know.
He did
what
play
it's
for the
like.
Sixers.
Yeah, but he wasn't that crash hot. That wasn't even this year. That was last
Yeah, it was
year.
a
wasn't
long
it?
time ago, I think.
Oh.
I think Hales, it's more off the field reasons why he wouldn't get picked again.
Even then, I pick Banton over Hales. They're the same mold of player.
Why are you saying he played for the Sixers instead of like the Thunder?
Jason Roy.
Oh, they're doing a Hales.
No,
Yeah,
I'm talking about Roy.
Roy.
Right, okay. I mean, Hales only plays in the top 3, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing him in this series. They're going to probably open with Banton in this series and have Giddings down
He's
the
not
order.
in that squad.
I know he's on the squad, but I
You
wouldn't
pick
have minded
Banton over
seeing
Hales,
him.
though.
I would.
Like, they'd be fighting over the same position.
Yeah. Should we go to predictions now then?
Yeah, just thinking, who else is in their squad? Let me take a quick look. Wait, they've got Joe Denley. Oh, no. Sorry, not Joe. They have, actually, they do have Joe Denley. I don't think he should ever be considered.
Like, why is he even
Why
there?
is Denley even there? Yeah.
Yeah, the ones we don't have are Denley Wood, the other Curran.
And then they have Livingston as reserve and Saqib Mahmood. But I think they're just very last resorts.
Yeah, I mean, Livingston's probably in the main squad now since Stokes is gone, but I don't know.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So what are we predicting, Arjun?
I'm going to say 2-1 to Australia. I think Australia is a better T20 team. The only thing would probably be is rustiness because England have just played 3 T20s and they had pretty much the same team against Ireland in ODIs. And their players are more match ready. But I think sheer T20 skill Australia is better, so I'll back the boys. Ryan?
I was going to go 2-1 England. Yeah. My problem is that if the openers don't fire, I have doubts about whether Smith, Stoinis, Maxwell, or whoever plays that role that we've claimed Stoinis may play, whether they can actually put on a decent show and put runs on the board. And I think, yeah.
I should have made a joke. My prediction is actually 0-0 because it'll all be rained off.
Yeah, that's getting to my prediction. Yeah. I think it's going to be 1-1. And in the third game, Australia are going to be about none for 115 off 8 overs, and it's going to get rained off. As we're on our way to setting a T20 world record. With, Finch and Warner both on 60 up about 25. And
England don't have that opener issue.
That's why you
I feel
don't
like every team has that top 3 issue by England.
You mean top 3 is too top heavy?
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue Sri Lanka because their whole team is just bad.
True.
Nice.
That's a fair point. Yeah. No, Oman as well. I feel that it's pretty crap all around.
Afghanistan's middle order is better than their top.
It's true. Afghanistan.
That's true.
That's a bit
Bangladesh, because Shakib and Mushfiqur.
Mushfiqur Rahim is the best batsman in the world. He should be in every World 11.
Yes.
Are we predicting anything else? Player of the series? Most wickets?
Oh, yeah, sure, why not? I think if Australia win, it'll probably be Warner player of the series. He always seems to perform when we're winning, so I'll go with him. Most wickets, I'll go with Mitch Stark. Like him in England, yeah, Yorkers and whatnot. Well,
okay, I'll say player of the series, Glenn Maxwell. throw it out there. I think it could be interesting. I guess I've probably got to say most runs Maxwell then in that case, unless he takes lots of wickets. Most wickets, let's say, that's an interesting one. Let's say Agar, Ashton Agar.
Yeah, good pick.
Thanks.
If Australia win, I'd say Smith would be player of the series.
And stick to your prediction.
That's like a very left field call, but if England win, I see Archer playing a big role.
Yeah, I thought about that.
Because if England expose, like let's say England get 2 of the top 3 out, I can just see Archer just doing damage to the rest of the team.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I think if England do win, Owen Morgan will be player of the series. That's my opinion. I think you can never rule him out. He's just so good.
True.
Yeah, but Morgan's
He's very good right now.
Yeah.
So one more thing I was going to say, we have the pre-recorded one-day episode, but we didn't actually reference this series in terms of predictions. So should we quickly chuck that in or have something else?
I think we can do a one day episode just before that series starts, I reckon.
All right,
Got
sure.
it pre-recorded. I think we could try and upload it by then. Looking at Ryan. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's no
all
longer
right.
on me now.
I guess I'll wrap this up then.
Sure.
Hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Be sure to ring that bell.
Yeah, IPL episodes coming soon. Indian fan boys.
Yeah, thanks